Guys, this is Phyllis from Haasline Software, and today I'm going to be showing you how our new indicator scanner works. The indicator scanner is a new feature introduced in Haasbot 2.3, and basically, to sum it up in like one sentence, it's a very specialized backtest that will basically run. It'll run through. You set a period, say like 2 weeks, and then you'll run an indicator through it, and you'll backtest every possible combination of one variable with an indicator, like say RSI length. It'll also run it against reversing trade signals, deviation offset, and different candlestick types. So to do this, first you need to make a trade bot on the exchange that you want to run it on. I'm going to use BTCE. I'm going to do BTC US dollar. The name doesn't matter. You just call it new trade bot. The reason why we do this is we need to make sure that Haasbot has enough data to perform the indicator scan. So we're going to go ahead and make it. We can just quickly add trade signals. We'll switch it over to bot. We can just do 0.05. Doesn't matter. We're not actually going to execute trades. But the bot is going to simulate trades. So basically, now we need to choose the indicator that we want to run it on. So for instance, I don't know, we can choose an indicator. Let's go ahead and go with stochastic. We can do that. We'll wait for the software to add the indicator. And then what we're going to want to do is we are going to change the time interval. We're going to do it to 4 hours, just so we grab data. And then we're going to run a quick back test on that. So while this loads, yeah. So basically, yeah. Right now it's just grabbing data, just making sure we have it. We're not going to test it at 4 hours. But yeah. So once it's finished, okay, cool. We have all the data we need. We can go ahead and switch that back to the time period we actually want to test. We'll do 30 minutes. Click update, and then we'll go back. And so now that we have a trade bot, it's all set up. So we're going to go ahead and go to the indicator scanner. This is what the indicator scanner interface looks like. So yeah, so basically you can see here it sees our trade bot and it sees the indicator that we were going to do that for. And now we have some options here. So you can basically run it against one variable within the indicator. So the reason why I chose stochastic is because there's literally one variable, which is length. So if we want to figure out, so right now the default, it says it's going to go between a length of 5 and a length of 20. We can go ahead and change that to 50 because I'm not sure what the length is going to be. So we have 30 minutes. That's cool. That's what I want to check. I can only choose one. We're going to let it run through all the different candlesticks or candlestick types. The deviation offset, which basically delays trade signals, and this is usually the variable that becomes very interesting in the results. Because say you'll have an indicator, especially when you have an oscillator, it'll generally buy and sell a little bit too soon. By adding a delay to that, or the deviation offset, or adding a value to the deviation offset, we delay the trade signal. So we might actually catch the top of, we might actually sell the top and buy bottom, or as close to that as possible. So I'll go ahead and run this first, and then I'll go through what all of these mean. Alternatively, I've also built a legend on our wiki about this, so be sure to check the wiki page for the indicator scanner. We'll just go ahead and click start, and if you want, we can go ahead and check the logs, and you'll see what it's doing. It's running almost 2,000 back tests. Or actually, I already made a mistake. I'll have to do this again, but that's fine. So basically, it'll be done once it runs through all of this. And yeah, it failed. And the reason why it failed is because I did not tell it its start date. It actually was a start date of a couple seconds ago. So yeah, that's a mistake I've made in the past, and I probably shouldn't have made that, but it's good for you guys to know, how that works. So generally, for the time period, you don't want to go longer than a month, because it's This is a very specialized backtest, and your results will not be that meaningful if you go farther than that. Because the reason for that is because there is no good indicator for all of the market conditions. So I mean, I'm not aware of an indicator that trades extremely well in sideways markets and with high volatility. So generally, you want to pick something that is going to fit within the market conditions. So we have stochastic at 30 minutes is going to be good during a sideways market, but it's going to do quite terribly in a volatile one. So because of this, we want to select our time period that is according to that. So I mean, based on what happened in the market recently, we had a big dump, and then we're a bit sideways right now. So because of that, I could actually choose the specific dates. Like Saturday, we had our dump, and then up until today. But for the sake of this, we'll do like 1 week. So I chose the 4th. Today's the 11th. You can verify that, and then we'll run that again. So this is actually very useful because say say today we start pumping, and then you can actually choose the dates. You can use your indicator, and then you can try to find the best values for okay, I know it's pumping, and then you can start to build. You can start to see these patterns of what's good, when it would have done well, when it would have done bad, and you can start to give you insight into the market. So now that it's finished, we can go ahead and get rid of this. And yeah, so basically what it does is we can go ahead and click on performance. The performance is not very great for this. The performance metric is not profit. Don't think of it as profit. Think of it as a relative value towards the amount of trades and the where it would have traded. So if you I'll go through the legend right now. So here, this is the deviation offset value. So this right here would say a deviation value of 10 is good. With ashy candles is the candlestick type. This is whether or not reverse trade signals should be enabled or not. False. Yeah, it's false. And this one right here is actually the value of the the part of the indicator you're actually scanning through. So a value between 5 and 50. This is saying 6. And the next one is the total amount of buys. This is the amount of early buys towards, if you were to count, if you look at a parabolic chart, you can kind of think of it in that way. Like, it would have bought a little bit early on that, which is okay. But you want to get, and the next one is late. And this one is, ideal. So you want to try to get the amount of, you can even filter by this. So you want, the amount of ideal. This is kind of interesting. Then on the other side, you have sell signals, the total sells, the number of early, then late, then ideal, and then here we have a total trades. Our performance metric would actually kind of calculates this through the number of trades and like how many would have been early or late and ideal, and that's how it counts. So you want the highest amount. So this is actually not a good time to backtest that. So let's go ahead and let's look at like 2 weeks just to show you. So yeah, so basically like the way I use it is I look at, say, okay, we have a sideways market, which values, you start writing them down, you do a little bit of research. I mean, you can spend hours on this thing, and it'll just, you'll start to realize like, okay, deviation offset within stochastic is good, around like 3 or 4, and then you'll start figuring out the length, and then you can kind of adjust to it. Yeah. So yeah, this is still quite terrible in terms of that. So then you can also start to play with, the length. Maybe 30-minute length is not that good for the time period. Maybe we should do 5. You can change that and start it again. And you can just keep playing around. So, but like the main thing is that you don't want to associate the performance metric with a, an absolute value of profit, because that's not what it is. And the nice thing next to it is you can actually save that parameter. So it'll actually, if you click this button, next to the settings that you like, it'll actually save those settings within stochastic in your trade bot. So then you can just go quickly over to the trade bot and just activate it once you found what you like. So, yeah, so we'll just go ahead and let this run, and hopefully I can get a good result. But if not, then yeah, then you can do this yourself, and you can find quite a bit. I mean, I've ran through quite a few indicators with this on different market conditions. That's really nice on sideways and really nice in volatile. So, I mean, if you're unsure of what to run in a volatile market, you can look at the market, say, is it volatile or not? You know, depending on how you answer that, you can start looking at indicators, start looking at different values, and you can discover the beauty of the deviation offset. But also keep in mind that it's I mean, some of the results are going to be kind of strange because you're going to have anomalies. Sometimes, like, I'll get a result where it's like a massive deviation offset of like 10 or something with reverse trade signals, and it just doesn't make sense. Why would you run Stosh RSI at specific settings with reverse trade signals and a massive deviation offset? Apparently it traded well, but that may not be something you want to run. So it's really important to understand what you're doing and understand that that this is more of a tool to gain insight, and that it can help you to identify patterns within the specific market conditions. And so this is a little bit better. So you obviously generally want to go with that. And like here would have probably been all right. Like you have deviation offset of 6, normal candles, the default trade signals, a length of 38, and you would have had 23 total trades with a performance metric of almost 4. So then you can save this, and then our bot will be that, and then we can look at it. If we go back to the trade bot, we can take a peek and see if that's something we want to run. So essentially that's how it works. It's quite easy to use. I apologize if you spend a lot of time on this. I have when we first developed it. But it also helped me to get better trade settings and to evaluate how I trade within specific markets, and it's actually helped me to increase profit. So it's very useful. So with that, good luck, and if you have any questions, you can send us an email, or you can write us on our forums. And yeah, good luck and happy trading.